Sainlogic WS0310 weather station right here. Wi-Fi says professional. We're going to put this together. I'm going to demonstrate it coming up. I'm Roger, welcome to the shop, and what I have here is a Sainlogic, as it says, professional weather station. It's Wi-Fi, and I have done other weather stations before, so kind of familiar with these. Sainlogic did provide this to me to demonstrate, which is what I'm going to do here. So what all does this come with? Well, we'll get into that in a minute. I will say though, and I have been into the box, got documentation out. They do an excellent job with their documentation. You get the full-size manual here, you get a Wi-Fi setup guide, and you get kind of like a quick start sheet. If you follow this right here, Wi-Fi setup, this is actually not difficult. If you just follow this step by step. One note though, if on your Wi-Fi, it will connect to 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi, it will not connect to 5 gigahertz. I belong to Weather Underground. I have an account with them, and I am able to, let's say I'm located in Illinois, but let's say I travel to Florida to get away from the cold or something. I am able to get on my phone and look at my weather station, and that's kind of a neat little feature. So let me get this thing unboxed and we'll get it put together. Something you will need, you'll need 3 AA batteries, and you need 3 AAA batteries. These batteries are not included. This does have a solar panel on it. However, that does not charge batteries. It only lets the station operate when the sun is shining on it, and then it operates from the solar panel and not the batteries. Otherwise, it operates from the batteries. Okay, how long do the batteries last? You can easily get a year out of them. Using a lithium battery in there, if you were, and I don't mean the rechargeable lithiums, but the higher end lithium batteries, that's a step above the alkalines, will allow it to operate a little bit better in colder weather, like if it gets down below 0 Fahrenheit. But here I have not had a problem using regular alkaline batteries. So let me get this unboxed. Okay, so what do you get in that box? Well, you get the console or the desk stand. I have not taken it out of the bubble wrap here yet. Everything's well packaged. This is a little wall wart power adapter. I call it a wall wart because it's one of them things that can block the next outlet. Don't like them, but they work. You get your mounting pole. You get the couple base options, which I'm going to go over here in a minute. And of course you have the main unit. Point out a few things on here. This solar panel right here needs to face, in the northern hemisphere, this needs to face south. There is a indicator on here. It's in black, and you got to look close. South, east, west, north. And you want this to be precise if you want to know the proper wind direction, because that's what this little guy right here does. This here is the rain gauge cup, and it is self-draining, and it will measure your rainfall rate. And of course this here is for wind speed. And I would assume this here is a UV index. I haven't read the book yet. Probably gives you your UV index, etc. And then internally are humidity and temperature sensors. There's also a reset button right here if you ever would need to do a reset. And on the bottom right here is the battery compartment. And one of the first things I'm going to do here is put the batteries in it. This takes 3 AA batteries. Okay, there's a small Phillips screw right here. You'll need a size 1 screwdriver, size 1 Phillips. Take that screw out right there. And it's partially captive, so it will stay in the cover. And you'll notice underneath that there is a rubber gasket that goes all the way around to keep this sealed, make sure that stays in place. We'll see battery polarity is marked inside. That's all there is to that. Now one of the next things you'll need to do is mount your pole to the weather station itself. Holes in the end, there's a hole through here. On one side is a little captive guy here. Hopefully you can see there. I got my little finger pointed here. That will make the nut captive. These are usually a little hard to push in. There, you make sure the holes are lined up. You get in the hardware bag here and get the hardware out. There's an assortment of hardware here. The two small nuts and bolts are what you're going to be using to mount the pole to the station itself and to the base, depending on how you want to configure the base. So the nut will go on the side where the little captive portion is. Now don't be a gorilla here. All you need to do is have that snug. Don't tighten it so tight you break something. Okay, on the other end here, this is going to depend on how you want to mount this. So holding the base pieces here, if you're putting it on a pole, a vertical pole, you would use this piece on the back, this piece on the front, and it will clamp around your pole, and they give you nuts and bolts for that purpose. If you're mounting it to a flat surface, let's say you have a post, square post, and you want to mount it to the flat surface, you would only use this portion, and you'd be putting the pole in this socket, and you would be using these screws to mount it to wood, or if you're going to concrete wall, you're going to need some anchors and that kind of thing, but won't get into that yet. If you're mounting it on another surface, like I'm going to be putting this on a deck rail temporarily till I make sure everything works, and we'll check its performance over a period of time, then you would use this socket. So that's the socket I'm going to be using, because I'm going to be mounting it upright like this. So there again, this is going to be a tight fit. You've got the small nut and bolt here. On one side is a little recess where the nut goes. You may need to help that along a little bit to get it through there, but it does go through. Let's put my nut on the other side. And there we are. Okay, next is what I call the desktop console. Taken out of the bubble wrap. It's got a protective film here. It peels off. Now, on the back side, you'll need to put in some batteries. And we got a little dust going on here, but this is the shop. This is pretty straightforward. Little clip here you open up. You'll need 3 AAA batteries. And the polarity's marked, so that's pretty self-explanatory. Pop the little cover back in. Little stand here that pops out. Or you could hang this on a wall. It has mounting holes. Right here is where your power adapter plugs in. And I've got that plugged in over there, and I'm curious to see if this picks up my other station. We'll know pretty quick. Okay, I did not pick up my other station, and I was kind of wondering about that because I have another Sainlogic station on I have another Sainlogic station here on site, and I wanted to make sure that I wasn't going to be picking that one up instead. So I do have some other sensors in here. We monitor our greenhouses with one set of sensors, and the other Sainlogic station is to monitor wind speed out by one of the greenhouses. Okay, we got a little setup to do here. So as you can see, the temperature in the shop here is 64 and 64 because the station's sitting right here next to me. And I'll be taking that out and mounting it here shortly. But we need to get this thing set up a little bit. Button on the side here, press and hold set mode. We'll stay right there for about 3 seconds. And then you can go and decide which things you need to pick. And the first one is time sync. So network time sync. And we're going to leave the time sync on from network. Then pressing the set mode key again will give you 12 hour, and I'm going to leave this at 12 hour. I'm not going to go to military time. Press it again. We have the time. So I need to set the time. And there's up and down keys here. Right now it's in PM. I need to get it back to AM. I should have gone the other way, I suppose. There we go. So then to go to minutes, press set mode again. I'm going to go backwards here because it's almost 8 o'clock. Hit it again. I want it to display month, day. This is a personal preference in how you want the date displayed. So we need to set our month. And I pushed the wrong button. So I got to go back to my set mode again. I'm trying to do this so you can see it. And then I can't see the buttons over there. Okay, we're back to date. No, it went too far. And today happens to be 11/1. So I don't need to change the day. And the year is 2022, and by golly, that's what it is. Set mode again. And we're back to the time sync thing. So then to get out of that, you just push any key. It'll take you back to your regular mode. Now to get into some of the other settings about whether you want it to display Fahrenheit or how you want the wind speed displayed and that type of thing, we'll go back again here to the set mode. Hold that for 3 seconds. And it'll enter you in this mode here. And of course, we're going to skip right through the time and date settings here because we got that set. Now, this clears your minimum and maximum every 24 hours. Hopefully you can see this on the screen. I'm going to leave that on. Next setting up here is for Fahrenheit, and it'll blink with an F all over the place. The next setting is wind speed in miles per hour. We're going to leave it in miles per hour. Rain, we're going to measure in inches. Kind of got something smeared on there. Okay, that's down here. We're going to measure in inches, not in millimeters. Next is pressure. Inches of mercury is how I'm going to keep this. That's the default. Pressure threshold setting. Default level is 2. And there's more information on that if you care to go into the manual and look. Now the weather icon settings is next. That's your pictures here. So you can press it to select the initial weather icon of sunny, cloudy, partly cloudy, or rainy. And it's partly cloudy today, so I'm going to leave that where it is. And the next one is how it displays sunlight. And I'm going to leave that in default. And then the last one is your location division. Of course, we're in the northern hemisphere. It'll say NOR right there. It'd be SOU, I suppose, if you're in the southern hemisphere. But we're not down under, we're up above, so we're going to leave it at that. Set mode one more time, and we're back to our display. Of course, there's quite a few other features on this too. There's all kinds of alarms you can set. High alarm, low alarm. I mean, you get into the book here and you've got time, temperature, humidity, apparent temperature, dew point, feels like temperature. I always like that one. Wind gust, wind average, rate of rainfall, 24-hour rainfall, absolute pressure, relative pressure, indoor temperature, indoor humidity, indoor dew point, the UV index, and the sunlight. And there's all these alarms you can set if you desire, and it tells you right here what buttons to push to do it. I choose not to use the alarm on this right now. I do have one set that we have in the house that monitors our main greenhouse set for a low alarm, but otherwise I don't use the alarms because they can become a nuisance. There is a silence on them, and a little snooze button you can hit to silence it, but you know, it's all of a sudden you hear this, what's that beeping noise? And you're running around trying to find out, and it's some alarm because the wind gusted over 30 miles an hour or something like that. So yes, it's useful if you need those points. If you are in an area where you need to be well aware of how much rain is falling because maybe your area is flood prone, the rainfall alarm would be good to use. If you have something you need to monitor for low temperature or high temperature, as I do with our greenhouses, then that's a good alarm to use. But with all these other ones here, dew point, high alarm, low alarm, outdoor feels like, high alarm, low alarm. They're all here. If you want to use them, there's a page and a quarter of setting those up and using them and how to silence them and how to set them. Okay, so what I need to do now is take this guy outside and get him mounted. And it's cold out there, so I'm gonna have to grab a coat. Now, hopefully the camera will focus on this okay, but this thing is updated. And I am connected to the Wi-Fi, and I will show you how I did that and how to connect to Weather Underground. And I was not originally going to do this, but I think I found a way I can get this all connected. I'll be blocking out some information on there, but you'll get the idea of it. Again, you can follow the manual, and it's very detailed. It'll get you connected there. Okay, to get your console connected to your Wi-Fi, and I'll show this here. I'm doing this from a Windows laptop. There's instructions in the book there on if you've got a Mac or if you want to do this from a tablet or an Android or something or an Apple phone. So what I want to do here is go to my Sainlogic, picks it up. The book says it's called Weather Home, but on mine it says Sainlogic and gives a number. So I need to connect to that. Okay, we are connected. So now open a browser. I'll be using Chrome. And what you want to do here is put this number, and it's in the book, 192.168.5.1, and that'll bring up this page here, which gives you the Sainlogic weather settings. So we need to do the network setup here. So we'll let this scan, and I need to find not a 5G network. I need to find my 2.4, Netgear 42, there it is. I'll need to put my password in here. I'm going to save that, and I am connected. Gives me the IP right there of it. Now I need my Weather Underground. So as I said, I already have an account with Weather Underground, so I just need to sign in. So this here is one of the devices I already have, so I'll need to be adding one. And we'll see if this is in here. We're going to go with Other. And I'm going to be blocking this out, but I have to put my address in here. Okay, I'll need to give my device a name. And we're going to call it the Sainlogic Feet Above Ground. Right now it's about 6 feet. And you can accept or deny that. I suggest you accept it. And I do not need email notifications. So here is where you get your station ID and your key. And you'll need to write that down. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to copy this. I'm going to put it in Notepad. It also lets you just copy credentials. Okay, once you are connected, it'll show here on there you are connected. It'll give you an IP address of what the device is. So if you go back here, I'm using Weather Underground again. You can see here for the Sainlogic, it is now online. If I click on that, it'll bring up that device. And I'm going to block a lot of this out because I don't want you to know exactly where I am. It gives you your current conditions. Quite warm for November, being early in the morning like this. Of course, no precipitation. UV level is very low because it's early in the morning and it's a bit cloudy. And it'll give you all your information, and it will also give you history, except I haven't had this on long enough to get a long history on it since I just put this online. That'll give you an idea on what this looks like, and you can access this from your phone or whatever. You'll also notice on the screen of your desktop console the little Wi-Fi symbol next to the indoor humidity, or I should say outdoor humidity, will stop flashing, and there'll be a little E which will light up above that signal letting you know that you are connected. So there it is, not that tough to set up. And I know the setup I did on getting the Wi-Fi connected and getting this online into Weather Underground may have been a little bit cryptic with those things blocked out and some things kind of skipped, but I don't want to reveal too much personal information here or the SSIDs of our network and that type of thing. Again, follow this manual. It's very detailed. It'll get you all through it if you have any kind of problems. And I'll be letting this run here with the outdoor unit just mounted to a deck rail right now, and I'll leave it run that way for a week or two, and once I'm sure everything works perfect, and it should. I have had other Sainlogic weather stations before, and I have another one in use here. And no, the two don't talk to each other. They don't crosstalk. That was one of my concerns when I agreed to test this, that it would be interfering with my other station. And the other station I have is not online and everything like this. So this is kind of a neat little feature. And I was able to grab the 2.4 gigahertz network signal from our house. I was close enough to be able to pick that signal up. You may have seen if you were watching there, the signal was pretty weak, but it was strong enough for me to get this online. And this console will be going inside the house, so it'll have a good 2.4 connection in there. I only have 5 gigahertz wireless out here in the shop. So, if you got anything out of this, appreciate getting a thumbs up. Again, Sainlogic did provide this to me to test and demonstrate, which I'm doing here. So, thanks for watching. See you in the next one, and there'll be links in the description on where to get one if you want one.